Hey everybody, today I'm going to go over a very well-used rigid Pro Gear system with one modification to fit it. I guess we'll go over that first. Makita vacuum, little, I think it's a 1.5 gallon or something like that. The model is a XEV11 18 volt. You know, it's just got the one 18 volt battery, very simple. Great for just cleaning up little things. Got a couple attachments here. You can see some cleanup on there. Short little hose, extends out. I'm not exactly sure how far, but not the most powerful vacuum, but definitely a good vacuum. So I modified it to fit the rigid Pro Gear system. You can kind of see how it's done. Very simple, very functional, not pretty, is what I'm gonna say. Got these 12-inch or 13-inch bungee cords here. Hooked them into these little grooves that this Makita vacuum has, which actually worked out perfectly. And I bent them so they don't come off. And I'm constantly having to find them or anything. They just stick on there. Super simple. They fit on really nicely, and it actually sticks on. Like this thing, even with it unlatched on that side, this thing does not move very often. Like I'm moving the whole entire system for this thing to move. All I did was I marked out these brackets to fit on the outside. So this edge fits on the outside edge of this groove, and I just screwed it down and put some Gorilla, there's a certain type of Gorilla glue that can be used on metal and plastic. I scuffed up the side of this metal with just some sandpaper so that stuck a little better. I did have to cut these little knobs because, or just so this would sit flat, and it did cause a hole because this is basically how thick the plastic is. It's actually a little thinner. So cut that off. Glued everything, stuck this on there, made sure it was square, and then screwed that on. Didn't have to be exactly perfect. Very simple, very functional, easy to use, latches on very quickly. Kind of hard to do with one hand, but sits on there, goes here, hooks onto that, hooks onto that. Doesn't move, is perfect on there. Couldn't have had that work out any better. Maybe could have 3D printed like a bracket or something, but I just wanted something fast and functional, and honestly it only took me 5 minutes to put on. I'll take this off now, go to the next box. And this next box is a accessories, so like consumables and bits and drill bits. So I got extra tape, sheet metal snips, extra square. I have these blades. Don't really have a preference when it comes to wood blades, but when it comes to Hardy blades, Diablo, it's the best one, most functional, lasts the longest, and this one's actually still good. Just paint wore off. The teeth are all super good. So just keep extra on deck. Set those off to the side. Got some dikes here, taking off nails or whatever kind of sticking out of the wall that's a little bit harder. Those work great. This is some Allen keys, and when you have tools, a lot of them are a bolt with that little Allen key in the center. And so if I just have one of these around, which this was bought from Harbor Freight, bolts already coming off, or came off. Super useful, or you have like pneumatic air guns and you just need to tighten up a few bolts, or you need to take something apart. This has everything that you use. Like all these sizes are like the perfect sizes. I did have another one that had some smaller sizes, but this worked out perfectly. Use it all the time for everything. And put that back. Bits or drill bits, all these different types of bits. I got another one down there. Blades can go back. This is actually a caulking spatula. So certain types of siding like Nichiha, they have gaps between them, and you need to make a concave groove in the caulking for expansion. And this, I'm not gonna sound that out or anything, but these tools are great. You can clean them off just with the with like a little razor blade. So like caulking gets stuck on there, dries. Take a razor blade, clean it right off. Super nice to use. This side, just have some pin nails. Usually use stainless for exterior, but these ones I usually use interior, unless these ones are, I don't believe I gotta double check, but I usually use stainless steel for the exterior. I work on commercial job sites all the time, so a lot of machinery around me. I'm usually up on a lift. These are great all the time to use. Always have them on there, or you're cutting. Just want to protect your ears. A couple hole saws. I have another hole saw set from Milwaukee, which is a great set. Comes with a bunch of different sizes. And then as those hole saws get used, I usually replace them and just keep the box. A little bit of pop rivets. Don't use those very often, but when I do, you know, it's better just to have them than run to the store. Pneumatic gun oil. On this side, I just keep a few bits, and this is for the Diablo quick release, I believe. Blade, just like a regular, like a blade like this, for example. Or here, this is actually perfect. I think this is a blade that goes with it. I could get this with one hand, but just get that in there, tighten that down, and then it just locks onto the back here. This one's actually really nice to use because it's a quick release and you could get, you know, constantly change your blades with it. But currently I just have the one Diablo blade, so that just works out like that. Fits in there nicely. Brand new bits. I use these a lot because I work with a lot of steel stud frame buildings, and if I need to make a pilot hole for certain types of screws or bolts, this one works great. This is the titanium, but I do recommend these quite a bit. Use them all the time. Bottom one here, I usually have, well, obviously, grinder blade. It's on here. Use these all the time for like cutting steel, strapping. So I just keep them on here. I usually do have chalk put in here. Some red line chalk. It just keeps everything put away nicely, and works really well. It's kind of looks like a mess when it's like this, but everything fits in here super well. Nothing goes above this line. So close that up, lock it up, and then this rigid has the latches. I do like the latches. I mean, if you parked it somewhere where you can't reach the side, it's kind of inconvenient, but they're super stable, or they're super well built. Like this is strong. And I can just pick this up, set this out of the way. This next box is my drill driver and an impact driver set. And you can see I got some pretty well used tools. This one is brushless from Makita. I use all Makita stuff. This is an XDT 13. This came in a combo kit with the driver, the drill driver. This is an XFD 13. I bought two of them, like these two, in a combo kit, and then I bought two of these separately on sale, and I actually got a pretty good deal for those. But everything fits in here super well. You could see, like, I could put this down in here, set that down. It sits well below this line right here. So everything closes perfectly. And then I have my jigsaw, which is a XVJ04. This one I believe is brushless too. Yep. And super nice. I love using this thing. I can get some really clean cuts, you know, finishing up the cuts and just getting those corners with no overcuts and nothing like that. So use this all the time, love it. Fits in here perfectly. Couldn't ask for it to fit any better in here. And then this is a handle for a grinder. I just keep it on deck just in case I want to use it or anything like that. And then it also just stops this thing from sliding around too much. So that's my box. It's another smaller, it's just another small box, same size as that one. Works really well, super simple, and yeah, I like the system in there. Matches obviously. Just take it off, set it on there. Another thing to point out is these boxes are very sturdy. Like, I could stand on these no problem. It is much cheaper than Packout, and it does have a lot less accessories, but it's still possible to get things to stack on there like you see there. And I probably could have 3D printed something to make that fit a lot better, but I don't have a 3D printer and I needed something quick. So, this is one of the guys probably, but I could fit up to 2 batteries on each side, so 4 batteries total, and these kind of fit perfectly that the batteries are all staggered from each other. I have 10 batteries in here total, and then I could probably made this thing better and a lot more organized, but I usually just take that 3-way, plug it into an outlet, and then have those cords hanging out, and then I could close this while everything's charging and the rain won't get to it. I live in Oregon, so things rust quickly or corrode quickly because there's just so much rain coming down in the wintertime. But if I have it put away like this, I don't have to worry about that issue. So that's nice, simple, not very pretty. It's all functional over, beauty. Next one is gonna be the most, I would say, important because it's got all the main tools in there. So as you guys know, this rail or the wheels come off of this thing, and this box can actually be stacked anywhere in the pile or in the stack. But first things first is this. I know this seems weird and awkward in here, but just to keep it, just so you don't forget it, is great. And I've had this one since I first started getting tools, which is a couple years ago. And this is probably the best hammer tacker. Super simple to get unjammed. Let's say if you get some staples stuck up in here, you just slide out this bottom and you can get to the jammed up staples very easily. Love it, super simple. You can see it's very well used. And like I said before, I had these rigid boxes here in Oregon. Things just rust super quickly, and it's nice that I can keep things out of the rain now. I set that off to the side. This box. So this box is just some of the consumables for the blades in here. It's a really cheap laser that, it has this bolt came out because it just gets tossed around and used. Did not buy this thing. Contractor just tossed it over to me because he didn't want to know more, and I use it just to make a quick markup on the ceilings or soffits or whatever, because you can just kind of hold it or like place it where you need it, and it'll put a dot up on the ceiling for you. I have some multi-tool blades in here, consumables, some jigsaw blades. I usually keep them up in the other box, but tools get tossed around, mixed around, employees move them. There's another little Allen key, just because, this is for the grinder. Usually don't use this, but if somebody puts that blade on there pretty tight, you always want one on hands. This is also for taking the blades off the saws. This came with the saw, I believe, but I didn't usually use it. Like I said before, I usually use the Allen keys that I showed you up there. It's another one. I think this one is from Milwaukee. I don't know where I got this one, honestly. Probably just picked it up off of a job site when I found it in the mud or something. It's usually what happens sometimes. You kind of ask around to see whose it is, but if that contractor's gone and this in the job site's rolled up and everybody's leaving, they usually don't care, and you're not going to find out whose piece it is. So you just take it, because that's just how it is. Not that you're trying to steal it or anything, you're just picking up garbage and grab whatever's taken or dropped. Some blades, you can see these are used. Usually have some new ones in here. These ones are, some of these are still pretty good, but just look a little rough. That's it. I usually have a bunch more consumables, mostly those types of blades I keep in there. And then this is long enough that I could keep full-length Sawzall blades in here, and it works out perfectly. Snap this closed. I like this also because it kind of stays up and out of the way from all my other tools, and then everything else sits in here. We'll start with the grinder. This one just kind of got tossed in last time and we broke the blade, but regardless, usually we don't do that, and it's usually fine. This is a brushless Makita grinder. It is the XAG04. This thing's great, comfortable, use it all the time. You can see that this thing's very well used. We use it literally all the time for cutting, strapping, or cutting whatever. We do install Nichiha siding, and they have a clip system, and you have to cut the clips, and the grinder is the best way to do it, or a chop saw grinder. So that's usually how we do it. So this thing gets used all the time. Next, we'll go with a smaller brushless 18-volt Makita saw. This is the 6.5-inch blade. This thing's great. I think the model number's down there. Don't really know where the model number's at on this thing, but this thing's great to use. Works really well. It's not too heavy, but it's super durable, and we use it also all the freaking time. This is probably my main saw, actually. So I do also have the brushed version of this. Not as good. It is lighter, the older brushed one, but this one is just a lot more quality in the way it's built. Like a lot more magnesium on here, and the plastic is a lot better, and the grips are a lot better on this one. So can't complain with that. There's a indicator right there. And now you can see my 36-volt or double 18-volt battery saw. So put the two in there, battery indicator, and this one is the XSR01. This is the saw that made me like Makita so much, because we used to use, or for the old company I worked for last, they used to use worm drive saws, and then they switched over to these Makita saws, and they were just so much more convenient and so much better to use. And after that, I did go to DeWalt and then Makita, but that was only because I liked Makita before, kind of had some DeWalt tools handed down to me, so I kind of stuck with the DeWalt, and then I had everything stolen. So I just did a full swap to Makita, and I use it very hard. This one's actually got a metal blade on it, cutting some sheet metal, some corrugated sheet metal, I should say. And this thing just works great. I probably should get a metal cutting saw specifically for that, but you know, in a pinch when you just need to cut something quick, those Diablo metal blades are great, and these saws can handle it very well. I'm sure that saw could actually handle it too, but you can mainly find those blades in a 7 1/4 or 7 1/2. I think it's 7 1/4, and yeah, it just works great. Great saw, great to use, love it. Next, we got a compact Sawzall. So this compact Sawzall, 18-volt, underpowered, but if you're just using it for like sheetrock or some simple things, small things, super great to use. Love using it for just the small things, and use it all the time. So yeah, this one is, or though that last tool, that last Sawzall and this Sawzall are also not brushed. As you can see, fits in this box perfectly, literally touching that side, touching that side. If I had any other box system, they have wheel wells, and I would not be able to fit this in there, like a Milwaukee or a Rigid or literally any other toolbox system that would not be able to fit like that. Maybe if I flipped over on this side, but I know on some of those systems, those wheel wells stick out pretty far. These Rigid boxes don't have that, and I like that a lot. This is a, it's not here at the bottom, it's brushed XRJ04. That one, that other Sawzall is a XRJ01, I believe, something like that. This could fit, I could stick it either way. Sometimes I stick it like this because it just actually fits that larger saw a little bit better. And then the savior of all siders, and honestly most construction trades always have to have a fine tool or a multi-tool, however you call it. Just got a locking switch right there. I do actually like a locking switch a lot better. I know DeWalt has the switch right here. I used to have that, and it's great, but the only thing is that the handle is so thin that you get a lot of vibration in your hand. With these thicker handles, yeah, they're less comfortable, but there's a lot less vibration when using these, and it works great. This one's also brushed. It is the XMT03. Great tool, love using it. And yeah, that's pretty much all the tools I carry in here. I do have a bunch of pneumatic tools, like, you know, pin nailers, finish nailers, siding nailers, framing nailers, and stuff like that. I have all that. I have quite a few other things I might show in another video, but just for this Rigid system, that's what I keep in here usually, because that's what I'm going to be using most of the time. I will be getting another box to be sitting on top, another like half box to be sitting up here, so I could put screws and such like that. So I could have my vacuum here, screws on this side, and then that will probably be my whole setup. So now that I showed you, you know, everything that goes in there, you know, main tools are in there, batteries, drill drivers, accessories or bits or just the consumables, and then the vacuum that I just installed, you know, to fit up here. But this thing's pretty tall. I mean, the top of that vacuum's right there at my chest height. I'm 5'10", so I'm not like tall or anything like that, but you know, that's why I don't want to put any more stacks on here, like any more of these boxes. I might get another, I probably will get another half box to fit on top of here, so I could put bits or screws in here, and that will work out great. But this is pretty much the end of my system. Love this system, super cheap. I know that the Husky system just came out. I bought this before that Husky system came out. And I probably would have went with that before. It is cheaper, but if I did go with that, if you remember how my drill driver set was set up, I wouldn't have been able to do that because their latches are here at the bottom, and they just have a big, when you open it up, there's just like a big groove inside of them, and just kind of eats up a lot of space. They do have a lot more accessories now, and like they have crates and like bins that can hook onto the side and stuff like that. But this Rigid system is really well built, really well put together. I mean, I'm doing mods myself now here too. I mean, you can't get them perfect, but I mean, this system is great, and I would recommend it to other people.